What's going on, my creative collective? Welcome to your daily creative reading for September 12th. We're going to dive right in and pull some cards and see where this takes us. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives for September 12th? Daily creatives for September 12th, please. Whoa. Okay, so there's a couple here. I'll do these two last. Yes. Okay. I almost threw those at the wall inadvertently. Does that ever happen? You get stuff in your hand and it just gains momentum wherever it's deciding to go. Okay, anyway, the back says you are magical. Okay. Dear you, what is true for you? Can you be impeccable with your word? Sure you can. As long as it's not used to manipulate others, the truth can set everyone free. Let go of the results, let go of your fears, and allow the truth to empower you and others. This will set into motion a kind of change that will be supportive of you and loving and all kinds of prosperous. This is not a time to compromise and hide your truth from others. Whatever it is you want, go for it and be clear in your motives, especially with yourself. You'll be so happy you did. This is a time where you will tap into the power to co-create and manifest your best life. Doesn't that feel amazing? And the results? Miraculous. When you tell the truth and ask the same of others, you can learn a lot from life's bountiful lessons and achieve your dreams. Love you always. The thing about this too is that it's got a lot to do with trust, right? And I was thinking about this, I was putting together some videos outside of tarot, and it just, I was, thinking about, so keep an eye out for those this week, but I was thinking about forgiveness as sort of a force, like a momentum unto itself, right? Forgiveness and trust related to that. Now, forgiveness is its own thing, but trust just in terms of that solid foundation and being able to trust ourselves. And if we aren't being honest with ourselves, that can be its own struggle of sorts. But the trust piece was really coming in as lending a momentum to the work that we do in terms of forgiveness and otherwise, right? 222 was just on the time. So that gives us a sort of motion forward. And trust doesn't, it seems like it's, I don't know. I think sometimes we take for granted the way that trust can show up, and just trusting people to say what they mean and mean what they say, and the ways that we can either fall into that or fall short of that. It's just very interesting to me. So, all right, Spirit, what messages do you have for September 12th? Messages for September 12th. 9 of Wands. Interesting. It's almost coming across as like not trusting. Like this is like the not trust, and the not trust. This is the mistrust or distrust. But this is also coming across to me as misplaced trust. So perhaps there was something, or this is like an energy. This is also a retrograde energy, apropos. But it's sort of, there was something that you might have put your trust in that was misplaced in terms of the way that you trusted yourself. You put more trust in something outside of you than what is within you. And that's a big deal. Yeah. That's a really big deal. Because, it's not so much about the hurt. It is to an extent that can come from that, but this is more so about the lessons that you've learned. And I feel like you're on the precipice of moving past that. That's what it's coming across as in terms of speaking your truth. Yeah, the call to adventure is it's the new. There's something new showing up, and this could be an opportunity for you to invest in a new story, an opportunity to invest in a new truth, and the value that you will gain from that, and what that means for you is up to you, really. But the refusal, interesting. The refusal is this Page of Wands, where it's like it feels either, we tend to think of the pages in terms of like too small or that kind of idea. But what I get from this is that the refusal is more so that only so much passion comes forward, only so much light shines through. And I think that sort of, in the adventure, the hero's journey, you have the call and the refusal. And I feel like this is the initial refusal, where along the way to this, to the gathering and speaking of this truth, I feel a bit like it's like only so much, like, and this could be you, 444 on the time. This could be you feeling fearful, like that, mistrustful, right? So only this page energy is allowed to get through. That's the degree, the depth and breadth of the energy that you're allowing in. even though there's something that is, I think of the pentacles as something that takes root and that, has a significant impact, but that operates beneath the surface of your fire in a deep way, in ways that we can't see, but that go so deeply rooted, because these are the beliefs and the things that you value and that you hold near and dear to your heart, right? So it's almost like the refusal, and you'll know that you're refusing. It's like, this is almost like talking yourself out of something you feel really passionate about. It's like talking yourself out of something where you're like, nah, it's not really like it's. Is it? Is it a thing? I don't know. And it's like the beliefs that you hold that keep you from trusting yourself, and that's where speaking this truth, right? It's not about being disconnected from your truth, but it's about trusting yourself. It's about trusting yourself. Trusting yourself. I'm almost getting the thing that could become a tower if it goes unchecked is this vibe of putting too much emphasis on what other people think. But it's not just that. This is the other thing. This is like unexamined beliefs, right? Because I think of the Pentacles, the Three of Pentacles in particular, is a sort of creativity. It's a foundation building. It's building not just the foundation, but not just a foundation for like structures and concepts in your life, but relationship too. So it's almost like not examining these beliefs and what threads are coming together, how these threads operate. You don't have to know everything, right? You don't want to turn it into like Charlie Day in that meme where he's like in the basement, I guess, or in a room and it has all this newspaper with red friggin' string and he's like, bleh, like that. Don't move towards that side of things. But this is for sure, this strikes me in this spread as how much information can actually get through, right? And that's where we can talk ourselves out of things because we're focused, the emphasis is on something slightly different than what we need. And what we need comes through being connected to our how much we trust ourselves. Because if we trust ourselves, then our needs are not something that we fear or question. We can lean into them more easily. But this Nine of Wands is almost like maybe not necessarily trusting yourself, trusting your instincts, because I think of the wands as instinct energy. And then we also have the Hanged Man, which is it's Piscean and Neptune energy. Four of Wands. Wow. This is just sort of an aside, but 10 of Wands in the Sun. I'll put that here and talk about that energy momentarily. Okay, so your protagonist position is taking the bigger picture. Like this is about seeing yourself, right? It's about the enlightenment that comes from pulling back for a second, but it's also being thankful for if something was taking its time. If, it's almost like being grateful for where you are. And that's where trust starts to come through. I don't know why trust, because I feel like this trust and truth are, they're so similar in the energies that are coming through. And I feel like it's connected to being able to trust yourself. I feel like you're going to be so sick of that word. It's going to lose its meaning by the end of this reading. But this is really about, I think, you in a position, well, it's the Hangman. So yes, it's in a position to really not just see yourself, but to really understand that you have the power to go up, to take the big picture. You're not put in this position by something outside of yourself. That's why it's the protagonist. You can go up into this position without the need for this Nine of Wands. So you don't need the burden in order to say, hey, I just need to take a big picture, pull back for a second, and then going back to it. Now, the antagonist position here is the Four of Wands, which is quite interesting to me because it's almost like in the thick of it, right? That, like, in the way that it comes through here, the Four of Wands tends to mean more stability and there's like a structure to the way that you're seeing things that takes it from an abstract into a more concrete, like it concretizes it, right? So what this gives me an idea of is the fact that you're kind of working with abstracts perhaps right now, and maybe you need to be. And if you go too granular and in the details of the structure, it's something that's going to develop in time that you're not going to have a hand in. Your job right now is not to develop that structure and that framework, but your job right now, if job, like the thing that might be a best use of your energy is more to take a look at things, and to know that to take a look at things. Oh my gosh. Let me just say these and other, aphorisms that are so disconnected from anything specific. I'm just laughing at myself because I like to, if the energy shows up specific, I like to like bring it to that place. But the Hanged Man is showing up in an energy here of, it's not uncertainty. I think it's like, when you go back to basics, right? When you just like sit in gratitude for things, think about how amazing something is, because it allows you to trust in that thing more. It expands. It's like an NLP, neuro linguistic programming. It's like a reference point. Your brain, if you don't have a lot of them, having CPTSD, I understand this. So sometimes I actually have to make it an exercise, like a written exercise, and say to myself, yes, I've had frames of reference where this was peaceful. Yes, I've had frames of reference where this was not awful. Yes, I've had frames of reference where this was actually healing and not terrifying, where people were not harmful, where people were trustworthy. So it's like writing those down, 1111 on the time, 1111 in the cards too. So but it's like you have to sometimes write that down. You have to write that down because it's that's a little bit interesting. I don't know what it is today. I've been already like shocked. Anyways, me and electricity today are like, whew, sparks are flying. Literally, it went in my big toe and then out my index finger, and it was just like, bleh, like. But I'm okay, obviously. But this energy here, it's not so much about the pullback. It's about stepping back to. It's like I'm almost getting this like assembling this bank of information about why something might be in your best interest, this form of enlightenment, right? So that's all I'm gonna say on that. It feels like there's more there, but as I clarify, it'll come out, and I know this because it always does. The main challenge here is the Hierophant. With this energy, this is Taurian energy. I kind of get that this is a little bit of. It's like the way it's showing up here is like, tends to be spiritual institutions, like institutions and structures that exist outside of you, and then there's the ones that you build from within you. So I feel like there's like an exchange happening where this is your main challenge, right? So your main challenge is that the things outside of you might be much louder, or seem like they know you better, or seem like they have a better idea. And, to go within is not the only message here. I think this is saying that what you're made of is something that can contribute to these structures, yes, but that you can't let these structures define you solely. You can't let these structures solely define you, because if you do that, then you will cut yourself off from this capacity for enlightenment, because you will not trust yourself. And that's really what this is coming through as, is like going within to the things you can't see, the things that, you may not talk to people about, because this is an energy where the high priestess does not speak. So it is an energy of what is it that you're not saying, perhaps, but also not just what is it that you're not saying. It's also what is it that you're feeling like you can't say because you are that trust in yourself isn't there, right? And looking at like, are you? So what's coming to mind is it a throat chakra blockage, or is it that you need to trust yourself in greater depth, which is the lower energy centers, right? It's the lower energy centers. And the reason why, so this, I feel like you are, what you're awakened to right now, and what you're awakening to through this hero's journey spread, it's telling me that you're awakening to a sense of your own power. You're awakening to a sense of your own capacity to put things into the world, even if they're just utterances, and to have that become something bigger, to have that. It's like you're more than the sum of your parts. And I think that you're seeing that, if we, pigeonholed people into, that's all they'll ever be. I would have never done a ton of the things that I've done in my life, right? And I see this all the time where, I working as I do at a public library, people will come in and they will sit there for days studying for tests. And occasionally I'll ask, if I feel comfortable, because I never want to pry, but so I'll go and ask, what is it that you're working on? And they'll be doing certifications for different things. And if they had come through, if they come through the door in their initial form, right? In the initial, that first day they enter the building, before they put in all that work, before they put in the things that people can't see, then, it might be easy for someone to write them off. And not just to write them off, but to say, well, that's all that you'll ever be, isn't it? It's not about that. And I feel like you're tapping into something where this could be beliefs that you hold, not just about yourself, but this is also where trust comes in, right? Where it's like, if the institutions and things around you have not served you well, in terms of done right by you, right? Done right by you in that they saw not just potential and didn't just fall in love with potential, but were able to give you resources as is appropriate in energetic exchanges. Okay, so as is appropriate. I'm not talking about people pouring into potential. No, I'm talking about as is appropriate given the institution and structure that's in place. It's almost like giving yourself a fighting chance to become. Giving yourself a fighting chance to become. And I think you are. But the reason why this is like an awakening, I feel a bit like this is awakening to the potential that you have on the one hand. But what happens when that potential meets the energy and when you get out of your own way and you start to trust yourself? The magician doesn't ask whether they have all the tools. They know they do. They have every single one of them that they need. They have everything that they need to create. And I feel like this might be something that you're beginning to understand about yourself, because you're drawing shit in. You're calling things into you. And that is really important. It's really important in general, but in this particular spread, because it's almost like this Nine of Wands is showing up as like, oh yeah, prove it. Prove it. So you might have been disconnected from yourself for a time, or, if we get into situations that are not in our best interest or that do harm, and they happen consecutively, and we don't give ourselves a chance to really clear that energy from our system, we can start to not trust ourselves and our better judgment. So it could be a call to clear that, right? Because I feel like this is almost like an integration energy that you end with. Like the main lesson for the day here is really this everything is within you, right? There's so much of that here. Everything is within you. And again, I say everything is within you. And I feel like that frees up a certain amount of energy where it allows you to put down this burden. And the sun it's such a joyous energy. It's a joyous energy, and it doesn't rely on other people, but it brings so much to the table. It brings so much. It brings so much, right? This is like the whole and complete thing. This is what happens when we're whole and complete. And I feel like there is a wisdom that you're accessing. And what I love about these two cards together is that I always see this card as like holding a kind of light. It's the light of potential burden. It's the light of hard-won lessons. This is pre-emperor energy, right? It's like almost like the emperor in training, like the initiate energy. And the hermit is another kind of light that you're holding, but one comes from within and one comes from the lessons learned without. And it's like you're integrating these two energies. And the hermit is a card of trust. It's Virgo energy. And to me, Virgo energy is one of it's discernment from the details. It's being able to see the details and to connect with them without being attached to them, and to trust in that. And I feel like you're gaining that kind of view of yourself in a sense. So we're going to clarify these energies here. Let me just move these up. But yeah, this is beautiful. It's like, I don't know. It's like you have it within you. You have it within you. You have it within you. Yes, and yes. You have it within you. Spirit, what messages do you have for my... Oh, Eight of Pentacles. I almost get that, like, there's a way that... So, like, I I don't know. There's a way that you may feel sort of disconnected from this idea of work, right? Like work in the sense of like putting in the work as effort filled and like a slog. Like it's just, ugh. It's so overwhelming. Like there's so many things that this can mean. But I almost get this as the work that you didn't realize that you were doing. And what I'm seeing is a spider web after the rain. And when there's like the sun breaks through and it catches the light of the web and it creates this beautiful effect in a rainbow. And I feel like that's almost like what's happening here is like it's almost like the rain and the light are coming together to reflect this web. Like I almost see this as being in here, like that the magician's operating from, where it's like you're able to see. It's almost like there's a song by Sleeping at Last called I'll Keep You Safe. And there's a line in it that's coming to mind. And the line is, you are an artist, your heart is your masterpiece. And that's kind of what this feels like. You are an artist, your heart is your masterpiece. Temperance. You might have been accustomed to, like, I'm hearing the word patience, right? And patience just meaning that the Nine of Wands is a kind of have made things happen in the past. 10 out of 10 would recommend, right? Like it's that kind of energy. It strikes me as very Mars energy, which doesn't surprise me because I see this card as like pre-emperor energy, right? Where the Nine of Pentacles is can be viewed as pre-empress. And I feel like this is an energy of it's almost like having patience from yourself, but I also see this as like an alchemical process that comes from balance, right? It's reminding me, it's not the phoenix, but it's reminding me almost of like phoenix tears and the capacity that they hold to heal. But it's that alchemical process because of the water meeting fire, and just coming back into balance. And I feel like that's the real it's not even a test. It might feel like a test because if you're used to this Nine of Wands energy and it's kind of like burning off, like if you're burning off this energy, and I feel like that's kind of what the retrogrades that we're in right now, it's like they're burning things off of our energy. It's just, I'm seeing the image of in the fall and even in spring, right? I think about fall because we're in it and it's my favorite. But it's like in the morning when after that first frost, but then the sun comes out. Sometimes you can see the steam and it doesn't become fog, but it's just the steam rising off of the grass and off cars. And I almost feel like that's kind of what's happening here and what's coming back into balance. Like it's like this energy is being burned off. King of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, Three of Pentacles, King of Cups. What's interesting is that this is kind of like the call, the energy of the call, and then this is the energy of the thing that the tower that could, if it goes unchecked, right? Um, I almost see this as like energetic absorption, not in a way that's like drawing on other people, but I look at this as like, I think so. I'm thinking about being like low key electrocuted today. um, but it's like where it goes through you and it's like it can burn you. It didn't, I mean, it just hurt my toe, but it didn't burn it or anything like that. It was just like a numb feeling. But I think about that when you absorb a lot of electricity, the thing that absorbs the electricity goes this black color. It's like it's charred, right? And I don't think this is charred by emotion, but I feel like this reflects the absorption of that energy. This reflects the absorption of emotion. And I think that this is it's almost like instead of deflecting or reflecting, it's like letting something in this King of Cups energy. Because I feel like this is kind of an energy of a little bit of defensiveness, but not without good reason, right? There's those 9 wands. It's like you had to kind of get to where you are with good reason. And I think what this tells me, what this energy is telling me, is that you are in a position where you might be better equipped to hear what's being said and not said, because it's like you're taking in a lot of information. I feel like this is an energy it's coming across as absorption. Like, a lot of people wear black to absorb negative energy. And at times I think, but it's like, I just like it. But it's fashion. But this energy is coming across as like absorbing information and emotions, like instead of them bouncing off in a way, it's like there's something, it's like you're finally letting something in. And that's amazing. Because it's almost taking the energy of the call, that opportunity to create something new. And it's, what it's doing is your inclination might have been to withhold or to pause, right? Because the 3 of Pentacles and the Ace add up to that 4, which is that withholding energy. Like, that's staying with me. That's just for me. And the King of Cups here, it's like absorbing that energy in a way that doesn't allow it to just bounce off or distracted. It's like you're not bypassing it. It's fully integrating that energy, emotionally speaking. And it's like you're developing, I'm getting this like emotional vocabulary, not for just where you are, but for also where you want to be, because you're better able to trust yourself and subsequently articulate truths. So the Page of Wands and the Hanged Man. Spirit, can you tell me a little bit about this energy, please? Ace of Wands. I feel like you finally do. Remember how we talked about this being kind of like the refusal? It's like you're like, nah, it's fine. I'll just let a little bit of it in. It's okay. And then I feel like this sort of pullback and this... I don't want to say this is an exploration, but kind of a little bit. It's sort of how you let the whole thing in, the whole idea, the whole creative, whatever this is in terms of a creative project that you're working on or something that you're starting. It's like you allow it to begin. You allow it to begin. And there's a way that you're kind of looking on out. The way that you're gargling rocks, it's like words like rocks. But you're looking out to the horizon for something. And I think that you're seeing that perhaps what you used to see as structures that were unstable, right? Because this came up in the antagonist position. Structures that felt unstable before and stability that didn't feel the most safe because you couldn't trust yourself. I feel like it starts to gain more stability because you're realizing that this is it's about how much work you put into the planning, yes, but this is I think about this in terms of planning on the one hand, but there's a lot that you can't plan for, but you can plan to bank on yourself. You can trust yourself, and I feel like that's where it's just this like opening up. It's this opening up. Can you clarify the Sun, please? Whoa. But 2 of Cups came out. I was clarifying the Sun card. So, yeah. Talking about that planning, right? There's something that you can count on yourself with. This could be connected to relationship for sure, given the cards that we have. Just as an overview, a lot of relationship cards are here. So we have, obviously, and cards that would, I say, inject the hopefulness and good vibes about people or persons that you're dating or that you want to be in a relationship with or that you see and you're like, that seems like a 2 of Cups to me. That person strikes me in that place. That's like, oh, right, like that energy. So we have the 2 of Cups, the Sun. We also have the Magician, the High Priestess, the 4 of Wands, and the Ace of Pentacles. The Aces in general, Ace of Wands too, is very passionate energy. So those, like, take that for what you will. This isn't a specific relationship reading, but I'm not going to look at the cards and be like, that's not a thing. Yeah. Right. But I think that this is also connected to letting in not just your happiness because you're trusting yourself more, but this is also about letting in things that would make you happy and that would make that it's like that situations and people that feel like the sun to you. The sun comes from within you, but that feel like it. It feels like, and the way I'm seeing this is like somebody meeting you when they are in their sun, when they are in their sun place, and they can shine, and it's like they feel like sunlight. So it's like letting yourself have that. But it all comes down to trusting yourself. I'll read this here. This part's jumping out. Let go of the results, let go of your fears, and allow the truth to empower you and others. This will set into motion a kind of change that will be supportive of you and loving and all kinds of prosperous. This is not a time to compromise and hide your truth from others. So I'm going to, okay. I'm going to pull, okay, Spirit, which one do you want? This one. Thank you. I legit looked at this deck. I was like, ooh, shiny. And then I reached for it and I was like, no, that's not the answer. Oh my God. So very much like Dory. Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives for September 12th, please? Messages for my daily creatives. I release the need to control my life. That's kind of what this is though, right? Like, this is the place where when I think about the emperor being kind of like that curmudgeonly bastard, right? Like just that super controlling, and just not trusting, right? It's like this place that the emperor, this journey that the emperor went through and on to explain it, yes. But then there's also this aspect of like, that's where it comes from, right? It comes from that place. So it's almost like as you step into your power, remember repeat this to yourself. I release the need to control my life. I release the need to control, and allowing the energy that is inherent within you, that you discovered about you, those hard-won lessons on this journey, don't let them close you off and make you feel like you have to control, because then you're not going to be able to hear this energy. This is not going to be the story of your overcoming. That will then become the story of the cycle repeating until you get to that place and recognize that high priestess within yourself, because it's a very strong voice right now. So I release the need to control my life. What you control the most causes you the most pain. Breathe in, breathe out, and let go of trying to control your life. Yes. Okay, so let's read these ones here. So this one is Live Your Dreams. Dearest you, over here there's no mystery for us to unravel, as we know intimately how connected we all are, how the web of creation works, and how spirit is in every aspect of life, from the invisible to the visible. But it's impossible for humans to comprehend the complexities of how things actually work, because the most important threads in the tapestry don't make sense in the dimension you live in. That said, can you feel the importance of these currents of energy that bring events together in miraculous ways? You can't understand with your mind, but you can know with your heart and soul. Trust that even though you don't know the how, the what, or the why, we do. Surrender to the mystery and have faith that the unseen world is watching you with loving eyes as spirit weaves your life's mysterious and beautiful tapestry in glorious technicolor. Loving you so, so much, as always. Yeah. This is, again, about trust, right? What a beautiful conclusion to this. Like, I love when spirit works through the cards like this. It's just like, it's so humbling, because I'm like, all I did was show up, and spirit's like working through. So, well, there's more to it than that. Like, there's clearing and things like that. But you are magic. You freaking unicorn. Do you see that? Okay. Dear you, there's only one you, and you have a unique place in the universe. Sometimes situations come up that challenge you to be authentic, and that means you have to be fully yourself and let go of being what you think others may want. Now is not the time to conform to other people's standards or expectations. Be proud of who you are and be courageous. Stand tall in your convictions. Being yourself is a powerful statement and will only lead you to success and ultimately happiness. Don't compare yourself to other people. Want what you have. Choose what your heart wants and know that your purpose is yours alone. No one else can claim your magic nor take it away. When you place authenticity and originality high on your list of priorities and give them a prominent place in your awareness, extraordinary things happen. Your life is a beautiful one. Love you always and forever. Yeah. And that's kind of what I feel like this. It would not shock me if there's an emperor that comes out this week at some point, because this really feels like this story of you starting to step into your power and taking the lead, right? Taking the lead on whatever that means to you, stepping into your power. Because this also strikes me as like this fiery energy. It's Leo energy, yes, technically, but an Aries energy is the emperor. But I get this as like a fire, right? A fire. The emperor is this organizing energy, this organizing force that just knows what to do, And the sun is an energy of that as well, but it's sort of reaping the rewards of knowing yourself, right? Knowing yourself in that same way that you know what to do and to take the next step. It's to know yourself as deeply so that you can trust yourself, so that when you take that step, you feel like amazing inside and you shine and radiate in what you're doing. And I can't think of anything that I would wish for another person more in generalities, right? But yeah, so that's really powerful this week so far. I feel like it's almost like how the emperor, takes the throne, which I realize is also, kind of akin to what's happening with the royal family right now. I'm not a close royal follower. I do feel for the family though, because I've seen some things, and I know that there's so many. I'm of several minds of it, because I know that in Canada there's an Indigenous history of dispossession, and that was directly participated in. I also see the bags under the eyes of the family members, and I understand that there's a humanity there, and I recognize that was not respected on the other side. So it's like trying to see the humanity on I don't want to say both sides, but at the same time a little bit, and that might upset people, and that's okay. But I think that the moments that we, I don't know, the moment that I have been dehumanized by others for my transness, and I can only speak on this for myself, but the moments where people have not seen me with humanity do not compel me to take that away from other people. It just means that there's a way that we can come together and do better and differently. So my hope is that will be how things move forward. But it just reminded me of that this week and all of that. So, but yeah, it's almost like you're stepping into your power. Yeah. So that's beautiful. I'm really excited to see where the rest of this week goes. So, and I'm also like, when I get into that place of like, oh, this is so good for people, I'm like excited to see, and I get a little like nosy. I'm like, what's gonna happen with that energy for you? Because I'm really excited. So, on that note, if this resonated, give it a like and subscribe. Come back tomorrow. I'm super excited to see where this goes. There are other ways you can connect with me on the channel, so do check that out. But if this is where we part, I hope that wherever this finds you on the time-space continuum, morning, afternoon, or night, that it finds you very, very well, my friends. Take care.